Okay guys, it's been a while since I've done a true update video of the farming operation. And last year, I farmed 100 miles south of here. I owned 3 different farms, 60 by 120 machine shed. And since then, all that's been sold and I've traded all my land 100 miles north. And we currently rent this machine shed here. Have added a couple tractors to the operation. So goal of this video is just to go over all that, give you guys a true update before we actually get into spring planting here. First thing, John Deere 8110, 2001, has I bought it with 4,800 hours. I think it has 5,900 hours now. Solid tractor, haven't had to toss much money into it. Been a super solid tractor. That is what we're gonna run on the planter this year and sprayer for post-emerge most likely. We got Buck here. We actually just installed this weight bracket. We're gonna put more weight up on the front because basically I can run a full rack of weights, and then I can also stack more weights in the rock box there. So we have more weight on the front of the 8320R. Bought this this fall. We're gonna use it for tiling. We're gonna use it for mulch finishing, any tillage, and then pre-emerge on the sprayer. So that way I don't have to swap planter and sprayer in the springtime here. Buck, you guys seen Buck. That man knows how to string some tile, let me tell you. Plan is we're gonna stack a lot more weight up in the front because with this tile plow, it's really rear heavy. You want to have a lot of weight in the front. We're also going to throw, I bought another 450 slab of weight here, so we'll have 3 450s on the outside dual, and then we got a big, I think this is a 2,000 pound weight in the front or in the middle of the dual. So this thing, this thing's going to be loaded up. I don't know what it'll weigh, but I'm guessing it'll be 37,000 pounds, I'm guessing. Solmax tile plow. This is one of the best feelings ever when you're running this thing and you're putting in tile and you're doing a 1,000-foot run that takes 10 minutes that a contractor would usually charge $600-800 for to put in. It's kind of one of the good feelings. And then when you finally see water flowing, it's awesome. But we bought this last fall, got a 4-inch boot, 6-inch boot, and 8-inch boot. We got to finish Spencer's farm and my farm, another 30 acres that's right next to it that the wetland determination's finishing up this week. Hopefully, if the weather's good, we'll keep putting in tile this spring here. Kubota 95 skid steer. This is actually the first piece of equipment I bought. I bought this right when I bought my first farm because I knew we had to do a lot of farm cleanup. It's worked super awesome for just anything. Moving weights around, seed, cleaning up farms, use it all the time. I think we probably put about 600-700 hours on it since I bought it. Been super solid. Skid steer trailer, use this all the time for the mini excavator, skid steer, and just running and grabbing miscellaneous stuff. I think it's 23 foot or 28 foot. It's got the 8,000 pound axles, which are a little more aggressive than the standard 7,000 pound axles on these trailers. Works awesome. 1970 4020 power shift that I bought this summer. Works good for haying, and then we use it, as you can see on the tile cart. Power shift, side console. I really want one like that. I think we're gonna leave the cab on it. I was thinking about taking off the cab, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna leave it on it for now and should work pretty good. Snowmobile trailer, we did snowmobile back in the day. I always had this enclosed trailer, works good for moving people out, stuff like that. But right now we just use it for tiling. We got all of our tile equipment in there, all the boots, all the batteries, works super nice for tiling. Okay, so this is the shed that we're renting. If you guys haven't watched the channel in a year, I built a machine shed in 2021. It was 60 by 120, it was giant, it was ginormous. I ended up selling that farm, all the land around there in that shed, and actually bought land around here. Well, I haven't built a shed yet or even bought a farm where there's a good spot to build a shed yet. So my neighbor Mark had this shed available where he stored some equipment, just a little bit of equipment. He moved it out of here and let us rent this shed. So it has electric, it doesn't have water, but we're getting water routed out in the next month here. So we'll be able to fill the sprayer up here. I'll need a 3,000 gallon water tank here for extra capacity. And we'll fill the sprayer here and we'll have water to at least clean equipment here, which will be super nice. 40 by 70, and then it's got an overhead door that Mark installed, I don't know how long ago, but it's a pretty new door. Instead of having a sliding door, it's got an overhead door. Only thing is, can't fit the combine in here, but pretty much every other piece of equipment fits just fine in the shed. I don't own this grain trailer though. So you guys see that grain trailer in here. I don't currently own that. That's just Mark, my neighbor's. The tool bench in here is all a mess right now. Spencer's been working on brakes on his car, so I tried to clean it up, but we need some organization a little bit. 1760 planter, 12 row. I think we're actually gonna go through that today, make sure everything's good on it. I've been looking at upgrading planters to a CCS planter, either 16, 12, or maybe 24 row if I could get a good deal. You can never have too big a planter, I feel like. At some point we'll upgrade. I think for this year we'll probably just end up running that planter. And then 90-foot fast sprayer, works good. I did buy a Greenstar rate controller that I still have to install on that sprayer. But yeah, that's the plan. As far as other things, Got the mulch finisher at another farm sitting outside, got a disc, and then we got the combine and all the headers actually at some other machine sheds that we rent because the combine doesn't fit in here. And then Spencer has another 4020 that we use for haying.
Okay guys, so something a little different. I didn't purchase it, but Mark, my neighbor, purchased this, and we're gonna work out a deal where we get to roll our ground with it too. And then Mark, you just bought this, what, a week ago?
Yeah, you just brought it home.
It's 50 foot. So have you ever rolled soybeans?
I haven't, but you know, it's one of those things that when that kind of started getting popular probably 10 years ago around here. And the first time you see it done, you're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You know, you're
Yep.
going in there. I don't know if this is the best way to gauge things. Sometimes it is. Every guy that's done it continues to do it. I don't know anybody who's done it and said, oh, that wasn't the thing. And everyone who's done it, they just say, when it gets time for harvest, it is so smooth. Those little rocks that you hit and all those things, you don't have that. You know. So hopefully that cuts down the number of sickle sections we have to replace and stuff.
So this is 50 foot and you can pull it at what, 10 mile an hour, you think?
Oh, I think we can go faster than that. As fast as you want to sit in the seat.
It would be fun to do the trial of rolling V2 soybeans on a hot day, emergence, and just see the difference.
You do that, Grant.
I'll try that. Plus this county, I mean, there's rocks galore versus where I started farming, there was no rocks. There was no such thing as rocks, basically.
Well, that's the Des Moines lobe, you know, the glaciers, and then as they retreated, they left all that rock and stuff. You know, if you save one big rock from going through the feeder house or whatever, it's probably worth it. So
Okay, so that's like 90-95% of the equipment. We're gonna get putting the weights on the 8R, get that fired up, and then I think next we're gonna pull out the planter, start going through the planter. It'll take us a couple hours to get everything aligned perfectly. So one other thing we did is we've got modems in all the tractors now. And so that's gonna allow us to have Op Center and upload all of our data wirelessly, which will be super nice. The 8110 also has that modem, and then I bought a 5000 display. On the 8110, we got a Starfire 7500 Globe here. We'll run SF3 on there most likely, which that's gonna give us the horizontal accuracy. It won't give us the vertical accuracy. I've got the two 6000 RTK Globes, but we're just gonna mainly use those for tiling. So we do actually have the MTG running to this, which will upload data wirelessly also. It's basically the new 5000 monitor we got here. So a little different than the 4640 I got in the tractor. Excited to try this thing out. One thing I do want to do is upgrade this ATU 200. It doesn't steer the best, it has a little squiggle in it. We'll upgrade to ATU 300, which supposedly is a little better, and it has an auto calibration feature that should work a little better. I did think about upgrading to the actual hydraulic steering valve in the tractor, but that's like $8,000 to do, and you can buy an ATU 300 for like $1,000. So we're gonna try going the ATU 300 and see if it helps with steering on the planter a little better. We're gonna spray paint these weights, got them up here. We'll probably put 2 layers on. We'll paint, put it out in the sun, wind, let it dry, put another layer on. That's kind of the plan here.
We're replacing a heavy duty spring. We got the old one off. Right here, this is like think of the drive shaft. All these sprockets drive every row unit, which is controlled further down the road. This heavy duty spring that looks like this mounted cracked and broke, and then it rode on this last spring, and Grant didn't catch it for a long time. We have a spare one we're gonna throw on.
Good. Planter is 25% ready to go. I started on it. And then we got busy, so I'm gonna finish it here just adjusting, making sure everything's perfectly aligned. All of our opening discs are good. All of our gauge wheels are perfectly tight, have enough pressure against there. That's what we're going through. So that'll take me a couple more hours to get through. Not bad.
All right, now we're gonna service the 4020. Fuel filters there, and change the oil. I don't think it's been changed in a while or serviced too long. The guy kind of didn't use it too much. It just kind of sat in the shed. So should have done this when we bought it. I think we have to take this step off to get the oil filter off. This little funnel is kind of cool and nice here on the 4020 because the fill is down here. It's a recycled part of an old refrigerator welded onto a pipe and bent. And so the fill neck's in there, really hard to get a funnel in. And then this gets you up out of the way. Yep.
Not terrible.
To get all the air out of the system, there's a little bleed screw, and then this is a hand pump.
Okay, so we got the 8110 all serviced, fuel filters, oil change, door seal, and then there was an SCV switch that was broken. Buck is really good at fixing little stuff like that. He's amazing at fixing that stuff. So 8110 is all ready to go. I need to clean all these tractors, but we don't have water at the shed currently. 4020 is all serviced, air filter, fuel filters, oil changed. This tractor's ready to go. Like I said, we're gonna leave the cab on. 8320R, I had at Van Wall, that's all serviced. Spent a good amount of money there, but there was a lot of things you had to do at kind of like the 4,000 hour mark, so we got those done. We got the rock box all ready to go. I do need to figure out what like weights we can put in the rock box here, because these weights, they're so close to fitting, but they'll just kind of stick out the side. We could throw some of these on, but I kind of want like a little smaller weight to throw on the rock box, just only for when we're tiling at really slow speeds. Last 450 weights on. So, I mean, we got this thing weighed down pretty good because you got 3 450s on the outside. We could probably throw one on the, in here in between the duals. And then we got the, like, I think 1,500 or 2,000 pound weight on the inside. So now we're going to go check out all the fields. This year we should be at a little over 420 acres or 430 or 440 with Spencer's alfalfa included. It's a lot. It's a big step up for me. So I'll go show you guys all the fields that we bought, because Spencer bought a farm this fall, I bought a farm this fall, and then 2 more farms that we're renting. One is cash rent, one is crop share agreement, kind of similar thing, but we're basically renting those farms. So we're gonna go fly the drone, drive them. I'll kind of show you guys them and show you guys the plan for this spring. Okay, so right now we pulled into Spencer's 50 acres. He bought this November on auction, actually. It went no sale, and then he got a price figured out afterwards with the seller. This was corn stalks last year, and there's 2 different pieces on it. There's about like a, I think 15 acre triangle piece, and then there's about a 37, 38 acre kind of square piece. So it farms in 2 different pieces. And in my opinion, for the area, he got a pretty nice deal on it. It was corn stalks, we VT'd it, and then this spring we're gonna try and plant 2-1 soybeans into this as early as possible. and then we'll harvest them most likely pretty early and try and tile part of this farm that seems to sit a little bit wet, because there will be like a 2-week window where it'll be nice and hot out and we can tile part of this farm once the beans are out. It's kind of the plan. We'll see if the plan ends up working out. This is a like 87.5 CSR2 farm, so it's good high quality dirt. It should produce pretty good. It's got a lot of natural slope also that has some tile along the waterways that should do pretty well. So I'm excited to, and the fertility was pretty darn good on this farm too. So I'm excited to see how it does. Okay, so this is the farm I bought this summer. The auction was in July and then I closed in September, and I didn't have the crop on this farm, but there's actually 2 small grain bins on this farm, which is kind of nice. A little grass area on the corner of it. We're actually going to put a corn hybrid plot this year on it. I did end up chiseling the end rows, but that's really the only thing I've done to this farm this year here. There was 160 here for sale. I wanted this 80. I walked both both 80s before the auction. The South 80 had enough slope, and I was walking this thing. I was like, dang, like this is a beautiful farm. Like I walked it, and I was like, it's got good slope to it. And I was kind of excited to buy this South 80. It's a 87.5 CSR2 farm. Good farm, got good drainage. The guy that farmed it previously, I've talked to him a lot here over the past couple of months, got to know him pretty well, and he took care of the farm. So this is gonna be a good farm. It's gonna be all corn this year, and then we're gonna get anhydrous on it this spring. And as we're going through all this equipment and land, guys, I do want to make it super clear that farming doesn't make all this. It's all the outside capital and some outside income that helps fund this and subsidize a lot of my farming operation. Like I literally can't make it work just through farming. So I want to make that super clear. Like I'm not a genius that has a plan figured out. A lot of it is some outside businesses and outside capital that's funding a lot of this. And unfortunately, in this day and age, that's kind of what it takes to expand when you're starting from scratch. None of this is to brag at all. I just wanted to keep you guys updated on the exact farming operation as we get tons of questions for an update video. Okay, so this is a farm. It's about 70 acres, and Mark, our neighbor, actually let us rent this farm. This was corn stalks last year. I went ahead and disc ripped it all. Hasn't been ripped in a while. This is gonna go to soybeans this year. So yeah, we're gonna throw a 2.8 Pioneer Z Series bean on this farm here. It is pretty rocky farm, so we're actually gonna have TerraClear come out and pick all the rocks off this farm, because when I was ripping, I did notice this is it's a pretty rocky farm. So this is the last field that's a rented farm, and this is what we call the interstate farm. It's right along the interstate here. There's about 53 acres. It's got some nice roll to it, and then it's got a little heavier soil on the bottom of the farm, but we vertical tilled this. We're either gonna go plant right into it this spring early, or I'll VT it one more time right before we plant into it, depending kind of on the weather conditions when we're planting. But I'd really like to plant this farm early. I actually bought up early crop insurance so we could get this farm planted technically March 25th and be just fine, but we'll see. Weather's got to be perfect and kind of good forecast ahead to do that. So now those are all the new farms this year that will technically be farming for the first time. Here's the other 2 farms that we farmed last year. This first one is my farm. It's just a flat 80 that was corn last year, and this will be corn on corn. So that was corn on corn last year. This will be corn on corn again this year. There's some really high pH soils. There's some heavy soil, and then there's a little light ridge on it. I need to. There's some drainage issues right in the middle of it that we're working on fixing. I wish it was as easy as just sticking laterals in there. It's not. There's 8-inch clay main, and there's kind of going to be a lot of neighbors I got to talk to if we want to try and upsize that main. And I don't know how much capacity there is available. So it raises good corn, but with the high pH, sometimes it's a little tougher on beans. So that's why we're going 3 years of corn on this farm, and then maybe next year we'll go back to beans. And then the last farm here is the farm that there's like 70 acres, and me and Spencer own half the farm. He owns the north half, and then I own the south half of that farm. We cleared the fence line last fall, and then we farm it all as one now. So Spencer's piece, we're in the middle of finishing tiling out, and then my piece, I'm waiting on wetland determination that should be done this week or next week. And if we get time this spring, we'll try and tile as much as possible of it. That's kind of the tour for this year. We got a lot of things gearing up and going, and the weather's looking nice. So we're going to start probably planting beans fairly early, basically tiling up into that point, doing a lot of farm cleanup. There's a lot of tile blowouts that we got to fix, so we're gonna be busy the next couple weeks up until planting, guys. So there should be a lot of content coming out on this channel. That's the game plan. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed.